Hello, good morning, everyone. It's Christmas. Well, it is Kelly Jarvismas actually this morning. I'm delighted to be joining you this morning for this very, very, very special live stream all about doing Christmas your way. Now, I'm going to give it a few moments to let the crowds of Sunshine supporters join us because I know that this topic is one that is super important to many, many of our families. So if you are joining me this morning, please come on in the comments and say a big hello, and also let me know where you're watching from as well, because I do like to know where everyone's watching from. I'd like to give you a couple of shout outs, and if you are watching on YouTube, a very special hello to you. The Sunshine Elves will be pinging me your comments, so I'll be able to address those as well. So welcome everyone. I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes. Take this time to get a nice festive warm drink. Nice hot chocolate with some extra marshmallows on, maybe, I don't know. Obviously, if you don't know me, my name is Kelly Jarvis. I lead and manage the consultancy team here at Sunshine Support, and I work directly with families and schools and other professionals, but mainly at the moment with families. And I know, or I hope, there'll be some of you guys watching in the comments today. So do say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. Also, why don't you tag anybody that is interested in discussing the pros, the cons of Christmas and all it brings for your family life? Give them a little tag, invite them along. It will be lovely to have them join us. And do say hello if you can see me. Hi, Susanna. Nice to see you. I know Susanna. And you're watching from Derbyshire. Ah, good old home of sunshine, Derbyshire. Um, and our theme today, of course, is doing Christmas your way. And I know Chris is really, really sad not to have joined us today. I hope I'm not a terrible replacement, because Chrissa, if you know anything about Chrissa and Sunshine Support, she is Christmas. If you've been to our hub for one of our in-person cuppa and chats yet, since we've had the decorations up, it is honestly like Christmas just threw up everywhere. We've got a tree shaped like the Grinch. We've got a beautiful tall, lovely lights tree. We've got decorations as far as you can see, but we've also got those really nice low arousal sensory spaces as well. If too much decoration is too much for you, we totally get it. And that's partly what I'll be talking about today. So hello to everybody. Let us know if you can see us, say hi. Oh, well done, Lisa, for tagging somebody. That's great. Bring them along. And yeah, I shall get going in one moment. Morning, Tilly. Nice to see you. If you see me looking this way, by the way, it's because I've got my second screen where I can just keep up to date with you in the comments. Oh, Chrissa, gutted not to be there. Poor health prevents me this year, but you're in very safe hands. Yeah, big Christmassy cuddle to Chrissa. And I'm glad you're watching though, and hopefully it won't be too big shoes to fill. So, Christmas your way, Christmas your way. This session this morning is for any Send family who has ever felt pressure to do Christmas the right way, whatever that means. The normal way, the Instagram perfect way. Well, spoiler alert, none of that is real. We know what you see online, those perfect trees, the family gatherings, they are just yeah, they're just not always what the pictures lead you to believe. And I do think that you know, it is a real a pressurizing time of year, I think, for many Send families. Today we're going to cover a few things. So it's a really judgmental free zone today, a supportive, safe space. And I would definitely encourage you to share some of your own thoughts, feelings, personal experiences of Christmas in the chat, because that will really generate discussion and help other families as well know that they're not alone. Because I think send families more than anything else need that level of validation that when you make decisions that are right for you and your child, you just need that like sense check from other people going through the same, that actually it is okay to do that. It's okay to do it your way. And we will answer some Q&A as well. So if you do want to ask any questions about how to navigate those difficult spaces in over Christmas, please do pop your questions in the chat. And of course, if you have any generic send questions as well, I'll do my best to answer some of those today too. Chris has written, let's be fair, tensions run high, whether that's excitement or nerves, and this just affects everyone's behaviour. It is like everyone is on the edge. That is so true. And I think it's just that ramped up that little bit more at Christmas because there's that expectation to be happy, expectation to be joyful. And sometimes we just necessarily aren't feeling it. Other times we really do feel it, but at the same time, it's overwhelming. And actually, the two can be mutually true. And it's about giving ourselves the acceptance that that is, in fact, the situation, and being kind to ourselves, I think. Okay, so Christmas. Some of us love it, me. Um, I have to completely hold my hands up and say I love Christmas. When I was a child growing up, I had quite unusual Christmases because I just grew up with just me and my mum. So they were very, very quiet, and we didn't have a great deal either. And it wasn't like this big sort of family, noisy, toy-filled sort of thing. Our Christmas days were quite quiet, actually. And I know that that was at odds with a lot of my friends' Christmases that would be described. And it did make me feel sort of like, oh, is this unusual? How should I be feeling about this sort of different Christmas? Am I missing out on things? And I think it's just really easy. Comparison is the thief of joy, isn't it? And what sort of growing up with quiet Christmases has made me as an adult is a Christmas ball of energy, I think. And now I have my own children. I'm somewhat sort of mindful of giving them Christmases that I might not necessarily have had myself, and that also puts a little bit of pressure on. And just as Rachel said in the chat, she said, for us, it depends who we're around. Some extended family understand PDA and some don't. And those layers of family dynamics is such a huge part of Christmas. And we have these as well in our family. And this time of year really heightens that difference of opinion and needs in every family. It can be a season of absolute joy, but also a season of trauma triggers. And as I said, people can feel both. How do you feel about Christmas? How do your children feel about Christmas? Let me know in the comments. I've got a couple in there. Even drop an emoji. Drop an emoji that sums up how you feel about Christmas in general. I know it's only the 2nd of December. Some people are horrified when we start talking about Christmas just at the beginning of December. So it's far too long to go. Other people have put their tree up as soon as Halloween is over. I know Chrissa would be in that camp if she could be. So drop an emoji in the chat if you can. Susanna said the changes in routine at school from one day to another affects my little one massively. Very true. And we'll be coming to that later. For those of you who don't know me, my background prior to Sunshine Support was education. So I trained as a mainstream secondary teacher, but then found my love of SEND by 2011. So I've been in teaching by that point by 5-6 years. And I realised that special needs education was where I wanted to go. And I moved across into the specialist sector where I became head of English department and then eventually head teacher. And one of the things that we felt really passionately about in our setting was to get the balance right between those who wanted to do unusual Christmas things and those who just found that whole approach really, really unsettling, for lots of different reasons, which I will come to in a short while. Tilly's explained in her comment, 2 years ago we took my son to see Santa. He did great. Last year he wouldn't engage at all, had a huge meltdown. I was heartbroken, as obviously I wanted that perfect picture. Gosh, yes, I feel that. And then afterwards I was angry at myself for being frustrated at my son for not doing it, as I didn't understand why he could do it the year before but not last year. Now I understand him more. I don't push him. um yeah, I totally get that. Um, that whole, oh, they could do it then and not then. That's a real thing, and family members really struggle to understand that as a concept as well, because if they've seen your child do one thing once, it's like, why can't they do it again? And particularly year on year, if you don't see your family regularly and you only see certain family members at Christmas, for example, that massive gap, lots changes in a year, and family members don't always get it, and it takes a lot of strength and personal sort of struggle to try to advocate for your child if they need it in that moment, and it's really hard if you're not really understood. Advent calendars cause huge overwhelm in our house. Yes. Um, the need of waiting, the you can only have one, and trying to explain how that works. I saw a brilliant post by Jo, who's our Welsh representative that works a lot with parents in Wales. She runs the cuppa and chats online for parents in Wales. She posted something the other day about her two children and their approaches to Advent calendars. Just one little door had been opened and the other was just annihilated, all ripped open, all taken out. And I think, again, sometimes we're so preoccupied with, oh yes, you must do it like this, it's this demand, this expectation, that actually the thing that we're doing the advent calendar for, fun, rapidly becomes unfun. And it takes that moment of sort of sitting back and going, why are we doing this? If this is not fun, let's just knock it on the head. Let's just not do this. So I guess one of the things for me that I think is a really important tip to send families, and to if you've got friends who are sort of navigating this for the first time, maybe you're only starting your send journey recently, I think you need to give yourself permission to name the pressure you're feeling. The idea that Christmas must be this big, busy, magical, loud, sparkly, social, full of tradition. For many send families, that's just not realistic. And it's more than that, I think. It's exhausting. It's actively exhausting. And naming that pressure and owning it and saying, hey, for us this is a reality, can often be that first step to that feeling of like relief and, oh, hey, it's okay. And we've already heard about advent calendars and how they can really cause overwhelm and stress. Have you got any other Christmas traditions that just don't work for your family? Let us know in the comments. I know one that, well, my best friend is a send family mum, and the one that her extended family really struggle to get their head around, being a hard no for them, is a roast dinner. Because her little boy has quite significant sensory issues around food, and roast dinner is his literal idea of nightmare because of all the different textures and smells and everything going on. So they just don't have a Christmas dinner in the traditional sense. They eat things that they like. They basically get a big sort of board and just put everything on there that everyone likes, and it doesn't all go together and it looks crazy, but it helps everyone feel really included. It helps people feel happy and full up and joyful, and it's something that the family share together. So you've literally got this board that has, grapes and cucumber and cheese strings and chicken wings and a burger from McDonald's, and it's all on this big one thing, and none of it goes, but it's just beautiful because it works for them and it's become their family tradition. And when they have gone to other places, their other families for Christmas, like their extended family, that has been a non-negotiable for them. They're like, well, we're doing our Christmas board. You can have a roast dinner if you want one, but we're not as a family participating in that. And you have to be okay with that if you are also going to say that you would like us there with you on Christmas Day. If you aren't okay with that, then it's our boundary to say this isn't something that we can do. So I'm about to get joined by my cat. Wonderful. Who's just knocked up my Christmas bell off the table. Yeah, giant cat. Um, we've got Chrissa Wadlow saying Santa trips raised too many questions when my neurodivergent gang were little. Now they're teens, they think it's brilliant, so we enjoy Santa breakfast now. They lean into it, they genuinely love it. Yeah, Santa trips are a really funny one because I think that again, there's this expectation of when you're younger, you will believe that Santa is real and Father Christmas is real. And for some of our neurodivergent kids, it just doesn't make sense. My same family who have their big sharing board of food, they've just leaned into the idea right from an early age that Father Christmas isn't real for everybody. So that we don't need to necessarily be unkind to other children who do believe, but it's okay for them that they understand that it's almost like a dress up, as like a fairy tale, like a myth, and that's been really protecting for them because they can just know that, and then they're not confused by who this person in the shopping centre is versus who other people are, and they can just enjoy the magic for little children. So that's been pretty good. Chrissa has said we make sure the kids are involved in making Christmas puddings each year. They get dead excited when we light it. They don't eat it, but they love the performance. Oh, I love that. Yeah, Christmas pudding isn't a big favourite, is it, of many children? I love a Christmas pudding instantly. So you may have noticed our artwork at the beginning of this Facebook Live. Christmas your way. Your Christmas your way. And it's all about going with the flow of what your family needs. And we've seen some amazing things shared with us on our posts this year, from eating beans on toast at Christmas, like my family who have their sharing platter of all the foods, to spreading presents out over a few days to reduce overwhelm. And it's so important that we don't let society and social media dictate how our Christmas pans out, because I think it's really easy to get sucked into what we see. And we are flooded. Social media is just literally flooded from the end of Halloween, shops also full of things. And we have to have that strength to go, hey, that's not for me. Oh, Susanna, my youngest is 11 and a half, still believes in Santa, yet I'm told I need to tell him Santa isn't real. Why upset him? Cognitively, he's a lot younger than his age. He loves to see Santa, but not in a one-to-one close-up experience. Yeah, absolutely, I get that. Because it's quite demanding, isn't it? Trying to interact with somebody you don't know, that you are supposed to really be excited by seeing. That's like demand after demand, really, really hard. And I think it with the whole consumerism nature of Christmas, I think as well, we are bombarded with things in shops and things in adverts, and you can't watch YouTube now without an advert every 5 seconds. And I think it's really important to maintain that it's not necessarily all about the things, it's not about the food, it's not about having what other people are having. It's about connection more than anything else, and feeling contentment. Um, you know, being able to feel that within your bubble of your family and what's right for you, that is okay. So let's explore how Christmas affects us, the good and the not so good, the more challenging. Sensory overload at Christmas is massive. Lights, smells, temperature, clothing. Oh, goodness me. I've only just entered into the world of the school WhatsApp group oh, please drop me a comment in the chat if the school WhatsApp group is just completely overwhelming to you, because it is to me. My oldest has just started reception class. I cannot keep up with the WhatsApp group, and I thought it was bad enough like in September and October, but Christmas is coming. There's like 80,000 events. There's things you need to bring in. Oh, this day they need to come dressed in that with the box that has this in, and then by that date you've got to do, like, it is a lot. And I love it. I love the fact that my little girl is managing to participate and experience all these incredible things, but it is overwhelming to keep track of it all. Um, there's just loads going on: nativity, advent, carols in the playground. Oh, routines are all over the place, in school, in work, at home. They just don't have that same structure that many of our young people need to thrive. That week between Christmas and New Year is very peculiar, where you forget what time it is and day it is, and you have Christmas pudding for breakfast and stuff. It is hard. New activities at home and school can feel quite unfamiliar. Um, my little girl goes to a school of religious character, so it's a Christian school. All of the schools in our immediate area are, and it's got a beautiful old church attached to it. And we realised that the first day she went to church with school, she'd never really been to a church before, because we'd sort of neglected to take her into one because we hadn't necessarily had the inclination to do so. And I hadn't realised how much of a different environment that would be for her, and she was filled with questions about it. And my youngster, as far as I know, is neurotypical. Who knows what the rest of her life will bring? But if my neurotypical youngster is asking loads of questions and feeling a kind of way through being in this very echoey, cold, large, different sort of place, I can imagine it's, much more overwhelming for some of our SEND families. Family pressures we've already touched on, different expectations, different opinions. Everyone's got an opinion, haven't they? And whilst many family members can be exceptionally supportive, there are others whose opinions are less so, and it's about protecting your youngster. Decorations everywhere. It's a lot. It's very overwhelming. I always talk about my best friend's SEND family. The little boy really hates, those massive inflatable outdoor Christmas decorations. Well, we went to the range the other day. Other shops are available, and they had these massive inflatable decorations inside the shop, and he really couldn't cope with it, and we just abandoned it because it was just too much. And that kind of thing is around every corner. You never quite know what you're going to be walking into. A very familiar feeling environment can be completely transformed by decorations, and you don't know. So living in that sort of, I don't know if this space is going to be what I know all the time, that must be very exhausting. Food, even safe foods at this time of year, can be compromised because things are added to make them more festive. Um, you know, like, my little girl loves a particular gingerbread man from the bakery, and they change at Christmas to be snowmen ones, and they've got too much icing on, and she really hates it because she can't have the thing that she really likes whenever we go to bakery on a Saturday, because she doesn't like all the icing, and then she can't choose the thing that she's used to choosing. It's really hard. Some of us will love all of this. Like me, I can't lie, I love Christmas, but some of us hate it. Like my family that I've talked about, their little boy just is too much. And managing those needs as a family is really hard. Remember, no amount of forcing things on somebody makes them get used to it. And I wish, like, my friend beats herself up a lot about her little boy and his earlier experiences of Christmas, because she was very much in the camp of, you know, matching Christmas pajamas, photo, that type of thing. And she would really battle with him putting on these scratchy brand new pajamas that didn't feel like comfort and didn't feel like safety, because she wanted that picture of them as a family, you know. And we've had conversations about it, and she's basically said, you know, I felt like I for a while put my child off Christmas for life, and it made her really, really sad. And this is why I'm quite passionate about this topic, because I see that sadness from the outside and I just think, gosh, be kind to yourself, because it is easy to get sucked in. And all we can do is get it right the best as we can. We only know what we know at the time. And as I say to all of the families I work with as well, whatever decision you make for your child at a point in time is going to be the right decision, because that's all you could do at the time. And as a parent, the person who knows your child best in all the world, you can be confident that at the time, with what you knew and understood, you made the right decision. We're far from perfect. We make mistakes. And I think, you know, your child's needs, if they have needs, they don't go away just for Christmas, and that is okay. We don't need them to change. We don't need them to put on the scratchy Christmas pajamas for a photo. We need Christmas to bend and adapt and soften. And then these are where these conversations, you know, become really challenging with family members who can be very judgmental, and they can say, you know, your child's ruining a tradition or ruining Christmas. Don't let anyone say that. Your child is never ruining Christmas. They are showing you what Christmas needs to be for them, and that is okay. There's a lot of anxiety at Christmas. It can be good, it can be bad, but you know, nearly always big and overwhelming. And if this resonates with you, let me know in the comments. I'll just come to a few. Oh, Chris has commented on the WhatsApp group. I knew she would, because we've had many conversations about the perils of the school WhatsApp group. Now mine are all older, I leave as quickly as I'm added to WhatsApp. But I think it's a rite of parents, for a rite of passage for parents in primary. Yeah, I was not ready for the WhatsApp group at all. The one that gets me is, have you seen Grayson's jumper? And then like 20 people are like, no, no, I haven't got Grayson's jumper. No, sorry, no jumper here. I'm like, just reply if you've got the jumper. Just one person say I've got Grayson's jumper. I don't need 1,000. Anyway, I could talk about that for ages. Chris has also said my neurodivergent kids query the religious aspect a lot. Oh yeah, so we were talking about church before. She's just bought a book on the truth about the history of Christmas. I'm looking forward to reading it to them. Oh, excellent. So yeah, my oldest is very curious about the religious aspects of Christmas versus the sort of more commercial aspects of Christmas. And she's sort of trying to marry the two up in her mind. So she's like, what is the connection between Father Christmas and the baby Jesus? So is Father Christmas baby Jesus's dad? No. Is Father Christmas baby Jesus's grandpa? No. So we're doing a lot of unpicking of that at the moment, and I confess I don't know where I'm going to go with it in terms of like trying to explain, or do we try to talk about Father Christmas being a mythological figure? Oh, I don't know, my mind's blown. And I'm just running with it. My daughter's really articulate and curious. I'm just going to let her lead me, because it's new to me, all of it. So somebody, Frankie, you've put Father Christmas, such pressure for my neurodivergent 11-year-old in so many ways. Absolutely. Completely hear you on that one. Oh, hi, Danielle. Lovely to see you. One of my lovely families. Tilly said, we can't do elf on the shelf with our son. He doesn't like that the elf moves around. I'm actually relieved about this one, as it does seem like a lot of hassle. Oh, elf on a shelf. Yeah, that's pressure, isn't it? Like I can't cope with that. I find, like, the older I'm getting, I'm 42 now, right? And I'm really settling into my boundaried era. And the thought of coming up with 24 elf moving things, I'm not here for that. I have to be honest. I find that like a demand. I'm becoming more and more demand avoidant of these things. I can't. Oh, Chris's kids do it for each other. I love that as a tradition, but I cannot get on board with that. And of course, bless my children, they go into nursery and into school, and everyone else is talking about Elf on a Shelf. But it is quite scary if you think about it. The surveillance element of the elf sees you and he knows when you've been like naughty, and it moves around and stuff. I totally would get why that would be unsettling for any child, let alone a child who is sort of neurodivergent. um and that that there's pressure to keep up, isn't there? There's pressure to keep up with the latest trends. Elf on the blimmin' shelf. School fair, concert, shows, pantos, light displays, breakfast with Santa. It's a lot. And that brings with it financial pressure as well, because you can't do everything. Those light shows, we used to go to them a few years ago, and the difference in price between then and now is massive. For a family of four to go to one of these trails with the lights on, it's going to cost like upwards of £75, and that is huge. My friends' kids were looking at going to Lapland in the UK, eye-wateringly expensive. I looked at this Polar Express thing, took one look at it and was like, oh no, that we can't make that work. And I feel really sorry for families who really feel that pressure to conform, because the financial element of it is just huge. And particularly if you're a single parent, let's shout out to single parents at Christmas. Gosh, what a hard time to be a single parent. They really feel the difference. Maybe they love Christmas, but their child doesn't. So Christmas doesn't really happen for them. That's hard. We've got to acknowledge the impact as well on you guys as parents. Maybe they don't even get a card. We need to spare a thought for single parents this Christmas, I feel. Is this you? Please comment below. Let me know. Let me know how you cope with it. Because if there are other single parents watching, I think it would be really validating and useful to hear from others. What do you do in the mix? I think if I were a single parent at Christmas and I loved Christmas and my kids didn't, I would try to do little wins for me, little Christmas hot chocolates, little bits that I could just do just to sort of feel festive myself without necessarily making my child feel sort of unsafe. But it would be really hard. There's just so much people pleasing, isn't there? Maskers, if your child is a masker or a fawner, and are burnt out from pleasing people, then that is really hard. The social exhaustion, even when you really want to socialize. And like I said, I'm in my boundaried era, and one of the things that I've really learned about myself in my 40s is I love people and I'm really good at people, but I have a limit to people. And if I do too much people, then I need to not talk to anyone for like a day. People don't realize that. They're just like, oh, you're so social. I'm like, no, I am 100% peopled out. So Tilly said, our son is practicing for a sing-along at school. He's also struggling with this change in his school day routine, and I don't know how he'll be on the actual performance day. Do you know what, Tilly? When I was a teacher and I worked in my beautiful special needs school, I was responsible for doing the school panto every year. And what I used to do, and Chrissa may remember a couple of my pantos, I used to write them from scratch every year, because I basically would tailor the storyline to whichever child wanted to be in the pantomime. So if they wanted to be a Pokemon, we'd have a Pokemon in the panto. If they wanted to play their instrument, we'd get that in there somewhere. And it was the craziest storylines you have ever heard or seen in your life. So it was lovely. But one of the things that I really was keen to make clear to all my kids and their families is that if it came to the day and they just couldn't do it, then that is okay. And we had lots of contingency plans for that. So we had a beautiful little girl who had a diagnosis of selective mutism, and she wrote me a note one day that she really, really wanted to speak in the panto, and we were just amazed by this, because it was obviously something that she had really sort of said, this is one thing I really want to do. And I let her write her own line, so she knew exactly what she wanted to say. We got it into the panto, she knew when it was. We then came up with lots of contingency plans, so we made sure that she was buddied up with somebody that she really felt comfortable with. We made them into a double act, so she could do lots of sort of signing and waving until she was ready to say her line. There was we kept spare seats on the front row, so if she suddenly just thought, I can't do this, she would just sit back in the audience and just seamlessly melt into the audience, and then no one would really sort of question it. She felt really safe doing that. So Tilly, if you've got that performance anxiety rumbling along in the back of your head, suggest to the school that they have little plans like that, little safety valves, little get out exit plans, where your son can just feel like, oh, I can just step and I'm away and no one will have even noticed. That can really sort of help that sort of demand of, I've got to pull it out of the bag at this exact moment. Oh, it's really hard, isn't it? Oh, he's doing it twice in the same day as well. My goodness me. That is a lot. And yeah, speak to the school, see what they have planned for the kids who can't or don't want to do it on the day. Yes, definitely do that. So let's talk about family then, because we've touched on this already. And please do shout us out in the comments if you have anything to say about how your family sort of help you, or maybe some little tales of where, you know, you haven't been so validated by your family, because I do think sharing those experiences do help people who you know, who are going through it and they're just thinking, oh gosh, you know, am I alone in this? No, you're not. Extended family sometimes means that people just don't understand. Your child doesn't need to perform for anyone, not even at Christmas. And the general tips and tricks. Sorry about my cat. What a nightmare. Got a tail in my face and everything. Our cats, we like to you know, we subscribe to the concept that cats have a neurodivergence about them. Mine do exactly as they please. So talking points about family. Preparing relatives ahead of time is absolutely key. So making sure that relatives who don't see your children particularly often know what to expect and know that's okay. Behavior, as we know, and as I've talked about so often on so many of my trainings and my webinars, behavior is a language of communication where language has deserted your child. So they might not be able to say what they need, but their behavior is like communicating that, essentially. Offer scripts for saying no. So if your child doesn't want to do something, work with them first to know ways of saying no. Chrissa has a great story about this one with one of her daughters, who she did a brilliant script with her about how you respond to if you get a present that you're not 100% sure about. She may want to put that one in the comments because it's really funny. And is Chris's DLD girl, and she just handles it perfectly. It's amazing. Offer alternatives to big gatherings, and it's okay to say, hey, this is our boundary and this is how we work. So if you would like our company on Christmas, this is what we are doing. This is how we're going to work. If you can subscribe to that, then brilliant. If not, then we're going to hold that boundary and we're going to have a smaller, quieter event. Keep those exit plans and time limits always there, and ensuring your child is part of those exit plans as well. Maybe you might have a way of communicating between you, you know, I've had enough. I've reached the limit of my battery. I need to now, you know, exit. How does that exit plan look? And how might you explain to your family sensory needs, for example? And how can you plan for sensory breakout spaces if those are needed within those busy environments. So example phrases that actually, I'm keep talking about my best friend and her family, but it's a really good example. Some of the ones that we've come up with together are things like, we'll join if it feels right for our child. So we're not saying no, we're not saying yes, we're saying, hey, I need flexibility. We'll join if it feels right. We're keeping Christmas quiet this year. That isn't a no, it's not rude, it's just that this is what's right for our family. Please don't take it personally if we leave early. Again, it doesn't trap you into one thing or another. It doesn't make you have to leave early. It doesn't make you have to stay till the end. It's just setting out that boundary of, please, it's not a personal thing. If we leave early, we're going to have to sort of see how it goes. Let me know in the comments as well, what's something you wish your family understood about your child at Christmas? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to go to the comments now because I've seen that there's been a few. Hi, Danielle. I can relate to Elf on the Shelf. My little one has caught wind of this recently, wants Elf on the Shelf, but is both excited and anxious. Christmas is always a struggle. This term at school always becomes overwhelming. Everything changes, happens very quickly. It's a snowball downhill all the way until the end of term. Sensory overload, light smells, ARFID triggers, sleep disturbances, makes for a difficult month. Oh yeah, I completely get it. Adjusting to new normals isn't easy. And Danielle's described it really well here. Christmas is very much a double-edged sword. It would be amazing if more employers understood the challenges. Oh yeah, that Christmas can cause and the impact it has on caregivers. Yes, that is such a good point. At Sunshine, we actually do training for workplaces about neurodivergence in the workplace, not just about your neurodivergent workers, but workers who have neurodivergent families, and reasonable adjustments and concessions that can be made to really sort of capture and hold those families who really need it at Christmas. Chris has put, oh, that script. I'm glad that she's written it in the chat because now I can read it out. She said to her daughter, oh, if you get a gift that you don't like, you could just say, maybe you could say, thank you for this gift. And her daughter said, or I could say, thanks for the gift. It's really quite peculiar, but you're nice for getting it. I love that one. Oh, hello, Emma. How are you doing? Nice to see you in the comments. Tilly said, I had a falling out with a family member who really doesn't get neurodivergence because they told me, well, he seems okay at the moment. And he did X, Y, Z the other day. And I had to explain that, yeah, this is masking. It depends on his tolerance, fluctuating capacity, I'm not afraid to educate people on my son. You've got the sort of hiding eyes emoji. Don't be ashamed. That's great. I'm glad that you are not afraid to educate people on your son. My son doesn't play, so hard to buy for every year. It's the same things, remote control cars and drones. That is hard, isn't it, to know what to get your child if they don't play in a conventional sense. Yeah, it's hard because again, people judge, don't they? Like my friend's neurodivergent son simply wants like credit for his preferred gaming sort of games and stuff. And the family members just can't get their head around it. They're just like, why? Why can't he unwrap something? And the answer is because he doesn't want to. So yeah, it's really tough. So you're not failing, basically, if you don't visit Santa or sit at a big table for dinner or attend every festive event. Sometimes it's the bravest thing we can do as parents to say, that doesn't work for us, and we're doing it our way instead. So this means you give yourself permission to skip things, remove unnecessary pressure, set boundaries with those family members kindly but firmly. The power of saying, we're keeping it low key this year. It means you don't have to say no. It means you don't have to say yes. It just removes that level of obligation and expectation, we're just keeping it low key this year. And, you know, no is a complete sentence too. You don't have to give reasons. You don't have to go into detail about why if you don't feel that that's comfortable for you to do. You can just say, this is our normal, and that is okay. So let me know in the comments one thing that you might be letting go of this year. Obviously, not doing Elf on the Shelf seems a really popular one this year. We are not doing the elf. We are trapping him in the attic. It's you know, hard. What are you going to let go of this year? That one thing that you're going to say, actually, this year we're not going to do that. There we go. Leona has said it's so hard missing all the Christmas things when we have two younger neurotypical siblings. How do we support them? That is really difficult because you have to balance, spin all the plates of all the different needs. It is really difficult, and you might not always be able to successfully sort of divide and conquer. That's how my friend's family does it. The you know, parents take it in turns to take the neurotypical sibling to things they want to do for Christmas. Neurodivergent sibling, less so, and they sort of try and work around that as a family. But you don't, you know, not all families have that capacity or ability to do that sort of tag team approach. And I guess it's about finding the ways to create the magic for your neurotypical children that doesn't add to the neurodivergent child's stress and anxiety. I do well when we were when I was at Head, we had to balance that, but within a school environment. So those children who really leaned into Christmas versus those who didn't, we had to be really mindful of things like decorating classrooms. We had Christmas free zones. I encourage teachers to do lots of like low-key communication things with the ones who really liked Christmas. So little notes, little cards. Our tutor groups all had little drawers, and leaving Christmassy little sort of treats, only small things, little notes, cards, little bells, that type of thing, just in their drawer as a little sort of nod of, you know, I know you love Christmas. This is just something just for you, you know, that type of thing. Can be really nice. Leona said they can't have decorations, even the word Christmas triggers my eldest son. Oh, that must be so hard. If any of you have tips for Leona in the chat, please do add them. Ellie shared a beautiful Christmas tradition. We go to the beach every Christmas Day. It gets us away from the expectations of seeing people, sitting in someone's house, etc. It takes loads of pressure off presents. We eat yummy M&S picky bits. Other supermarkets are available. In a beach hut. Oh, we hire the same hut every year, which means my children are comfortable with the day. We invite people to join if they want to. Nobody ever has, which is perfect for us. I love that. That sounds absolutely dreamy as a Christmas. You'd be all cozy, wrapped up and warm, eating M&S picky bits. Yeah, definitely. So Tilly has shared a beautiful version of the night before Christmas, which I'm just going to read out to you. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, the noises were different with more people about. I don't like not knowing what to expect. I need my routine and space to reflect. I want to keep eating my usual food. Not talking to visitors doesn't mean I'm rude. I love all my presents and having no school, but it can feel overwhelming with new rituals and rules. I may not react like other children do, but I'm really grateful for my presence from you. So be gentle with me, be patient and kind, and remember your world looks different to mine. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Tilly, thank you so much for sharing. I think that there are so many families who would really benefit from sharing that with their youngster, because that really does put into words, you know, how you can feel that simultaneous joy and excitement and trepidation and worry, and that's sort of okay, and that, you know, we've got you. That was absolutely amazing. Thanks for sharing that. So how do we navigate all of this? Well, a big overwhelming message, I think, that I really want you to take away with you today as parents, but more than parents, I guess, as people, because it's very easy, isn't it, to forget who we are as people if you are a send parent. that you matter too. Christmas can be hard, it can be lonely, and it can be really overstimulating for adults as well, especially send parents, with juggling all these expectations. And I think society as well, if you are neurodivergent, or maybe you've come to adulthood and you've got a send child and you're now reflecting on yourself, and perhaps you're going through your own journey of sort of discovering your neurodivergence, I think sometimes society can place a lot of pressure on adults to just sort of be cured. We have much less patience for adults than we do for children. And yet, an adult is just a grown up child. Those sensory issues are still there. Those anxieties are still there. Those social demands are still there. And to know that, it can be stimulating for you too. It's okay for you to hold your boundaries. Switch off social media. You do you. Be present in your family. Do what's needed. And that's why we launch Your Christmas Your Way as a sort of theme, as this sort of campaign, because it's so important that we don't follow the norms and that we go with our own flow and be in our own lane. And, since launching this campaign, we've heard some amazing things, like I mentioned earlier, and like we've had in the chat today. I think somebody's just put out just now that they are, Chloe, we're just not having Christmas dinner on Christmas Day. Yeah, I hear you. And there's no magic wand though. But we've heard from Leona, who is obviously having a really hard time navigating divergence with typical needs within the family. Where possible, divide and conquer when trying to meet differing needs. It's not always possible, but sometimes we have to admit it needs to happen, and that could be really hard. Excuse me. So I think the overarching message is that Christmas doesn't need to look the same for every family. Your child deserves a Christmas that feels safe, kind, joyful, and so do you too, as a parent and as a human being. And remember, Christmas Your Way is not a compromise, it's a celebration that actually fits. You are not compromising on what works for you and your family. It's making Christmas fit for you. And you're not alone. You're not doing it wrong. No one's ruining Christmas. It is simply about being okay to sit with difference, and that's all right. Please do let me know in the chat if anything today has resonated with you, you're taking away any tips or things you're going to do going forward. Maybe you've got some scripts you've used with your family that you'd like to share and talk about with others. I would love to hear them. Before we leave today, I think we've actually got one from YouTube, which is really exciting. I'm just going to come to our YouTube comment. So the school play, sorry, this is from our lovely Jess, who's one of our Sunshine consultants here. The school play. My child does not want to participate, but I feel I need to go to support him so he knows I am there for him, and the school expect us to pay for it. Oh man. Oh dear. So yeah, hear you on that one, Jess. Goodness me. It's hard, isn't it? It is really hard. I think the nativity has caused a bit of a stir at our settings. We my little girl who's in reception class, she's got a really diverse class. So neurodivergent, lots of different sort of social backgrounds as well. And not everyone is sort of on board with the concept of a nativity for lots of reasons. Sort of big echoey church, the concept of the religious element, how baby Jesus links with Santa, like I was saying before. It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot, and yet we feel like we have to go along because if we don't, we might get judged for not being there. I feel that massively as a parent. I'm trying to go to everything, every Christmas event. There's literally Advent, there's carols, there's Christingle. I didn't even know what Christingle was. But we're going to it because I feel like we should, and I want my daughter to feel that she's got the maximum opportunity to participate. But it is a lot. It's a lot. So yeah, it is hard. So Do let me know in the comments just before we go if there's any parting thoughts that you have about Christmas, anything you've learned today that you'll take away with you. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing this morning with you, talking about such an important issue. We've still got, what, 23 days to go until the big day. And I know that for many of you watching, either live or back on YouTube on our channel later, um, that those 23 days may feel like a complete mountain, each one harder than the previous, leading to a day where it's just full of expectation and pressure. But do Christmas your way. It's okay to put in those boundaries, to hold firm in what feels safe for you and your family. And please do as well check out, if you're local to Derby, check out our in-person Christmas events going on at Sunshine Hub. We've got wreath making, we've got our Christmas Hub quiz, we've got cuppa and chat. And these are brilliant safe spaces to share with Sunshine families who get it, who who can share their experiences, validate you. And if you do love Christmas but you can't necessarily do it at home, coming onto the hub will give you a little pocket of Christmas joy to participate in. And I'm sure some of our sunshine elves will be popping in the chat some links to some of those events if you want to click. We've also got our online events as well, all of which are listed on our events page on our website. So do pop in and have a chat, just offload some of those feelings about Christmas around people who just sort of get it. Safe space people, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I think that pretty much brings us to a close this morning. Oh, yeah, straight away, Sunshine Elves in the chat, popping on some of our links to our events, which is great. Anyway, it's been a real pleasure this morning. I'm so sorry I'm not Chrissa, who is infinitely more charismatic than I am, but it's been so nice to see people I know and people who I chat to often on Facebook Lives and things. And thank you, Tilly. Tilly said it's been great today to have that validation that it's okay, that we don't have to follow the norm, those expected traditions. We can create our own routines and traditions. Yes, you absolutely can. And if that's eating McDonald's on Christmas Day, or going to the beach, or putting Elf in the shelf in the bin, go for it. You do you. Christmas your way. I love it. I'm here for it. And I hope to see you all on another Facebook Live very, very soon, and certainly on some upcoming webinars as well in the new year. We've got lots planned in the new year. And I'm on another Facebook Live in a couple of weeks' time, talking about planning for 2026, what we've got going on, heaps and heaps of exciting events, loads of new content for 2026 as well. And also, planning for your send family in the new year, because we know a lot of change is coming, changes afoot imminently in the new year to do with send nationally, and we'll be watching with great interest with how that will pan out. And we're always here. We are always here, your steadfast send extended family, and that is true now and into 2026 and far, far beyond. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you hopefully in a couple of weeks. And until then, do Christmas your way, and that's okay. And I'll see you again very, very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.